Hello and welcome to Somerset News Network. We're on a nice sunny day. As we know, we've got an election in December, so we've got our coats on. It's not ice cream weather, but we might have a bag of chips later, I think. We're on Weston seafront. We've got the pier there behind us. We've got people walking dogs. And it's just an expanse of sand. It's a lovely beach here at Weston. Now, I'm talking to Tarr. Now, Tarr is the prospective parliamentary candidate for the Brexit Party. How did that come about?
Well, I stood for the Brexit Party in the EU elections, and I did that because I was so frustrated with Parliament not going ahead with the will of the people, which was to leave the EU. Mrs May's withdrawal agreement was truly shocking. She was a shocking Prime Minister, and we needed change. And so I stood for the Brexit Party then. We had 3 candidates elected in the South West. I narrowly failed to get elected, and I want to carry on the fight because Boris's deal is not going to deliver Brexit either.
Why is Boris's deal not going to deliver Brexit? He's telling us it's going to deliver Brexit.
Well, with Boris Johnson, what you have to do is not look at what he says, but look at what he does, and actually look at the detail of the deal. And has he actually read it? Because if you read the detail of the deal, what we are doing is not leaving the EU. We are not getting back control of our borders, we're not getting back control of our money, and we're not getting back control of our parliament and our laws. So, for example, the ECJ is going to be the arbiter of any free trade deal that we end up doing with the EU. That means we have no say in who those judges are, and we don't have control. The ECJ will be controlling what we can do. During the transition period, which Boris assures us will only be for 12 months, or where have we heard that before? He assures us it's only going to be for 12 months. During that time, any rules the EU pass, we're going to have to implement. Now, the transition period, which Boris tells us is going to be for 12 months, Michel Barnier has already said is going to be more like 3 years. Now, who do we trust? Do we trust Boris and the Conservative Party, who have broken every single deadline that they've been given, or do we trust Michel Barnier, who we know is an expert negotiator? I'd rather take the word of Michel Barnier on this, personally. So the EU election, even after we have this free trade deal, we're not going to be free to do what we want, because the EU has already said that the terms of any free trade deal that we do are so onerous we won't have control of everything that we want. So, for example, they've already said we will not have control of our own fishing. Now, Boris stood up in the House of Commons and said we were going to get back control of our fishing. Well, the answer is we're not. It's quite clear in the new treaty and in the political declaration that any free trade deal we do is contingent on us giving up our rights to our own fishing waters. And that is crucial to me.
So it's not Brexit at all then?
It's Brexit in name only, and we keep saying this about Mrs May's deal and now Boris's deal because it really is. And there's this dispute going on about, did people really know what they were voting for in 2016? What did the 17.4 million actually want? Well, I think we knew what we wanted. We wanted to have control of our own laws, we want to have control of our own borders, and we wanted to stop sending money to the EU. This new deal that Boris is proposing doesn't give us any of that, and that's why it's not Brexit.
Somerset News Network put in a Freedom of Information request to ask how much tariff money from imports we pay the EU and how much of the VAT we pay the EU. The tariff money was 2.4 billion a year because goods coming into Britain are not our money, it's EU tariff. And VAT, they take 2.7 billion. So whatever deal we do, we're still in the EU, we're still going to have to pay them that money. That's 5.1 billion a year. Where does all this money go in the EU?
Well, we know the EU doesn't have exactly a stellar reputation in spending its money wisely. We know that each year they have the accounts and they say they can't find out what's happened to a significant percentage of that money. And this is money, this is our money which we're sending to the EU, which we get a little bit back. And so we constantly hear all this talk about our subsidies and how we're going to carry on with our fishing and our farming without the subsidies. But that's our money anyway that we're sending them, and they only give a bit of it back to us. And a lot of it we know is wasted on vanity projects. You just have to look at the amount of money it costs for Brussels or for the EU Parliament each month to move to Strasbourg from Brussels, which is a colossal waste of money, and it's only done to appease the French. It's a complete waste of money, it's totally ungreen, and it should be stopped.
And What do you think your chances are of winning Weston Super Mare?
Do you know what? I think everything is in play, everything is up for grabs, because people want their vote to count. And if you vote for any of the other parties, you're not going to get Brexit. The only party who is committed to us actually leaving the EU very clearly is the Brexit Party. We know that 57% of the electorate in Weston Super Mare voted to leave the EU, and I'm the only candidate who's actually saying, I want us to leave the EU. If they want to leave the EU, they need to vote for me.
You are brilliant. I wish you all the best. And if you do become an MP, how many ice creams are you going to have?
I love ice cream. That's not a problem. And I love the whole ambience of Weston. It's great, and the seafront and the pubs and the bars and the restaurants. It's fantastic, and we need to promote it. This is a fantastic place. Let's promote it.
I used to bring my girlfriends here, but we won't talk about that. And Tarr, thank you very much for talking to Somerset News Network.